Hello and welcome to TapeDeck Sessions with me, Josh Hayes, brought to you by TapeDeck. TapeDeck is the new online platform that connects casting directors and actors with creatives to send, receive, organize, and view self-tapes on one easy-to-use platform. Thank you very much for joining us. Here on TapeDeck Sessions, we chat to some of the industry's most exciting actors, agents, casting directors, and creatives working in the industry today. Now, I'm really looking forward to today's conversation. That's because both of today's guests are actors turned coaches who work with actors and creatives to help them get in the best shape of their lives. They've helped hundreds of clients physically and mentally prepare for auditions and jobs and life in general. And their client list is growing at a rapid rate. Some of their clients have worked on projects such as the Barbie movie, Doctor Who, The Crown, and Endeavour. So it is my pleasure to welcome to TapeDeck Sessions Tom Senior and Mimi Davenport from Powerful Performer.
Woo! I love that intro.
Rapturous applause.
That was amazing. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're so excited.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thanks so much for coming on. So guys, we start by asking every guest, take us, both of you, right back to the beginning. How did you get your start in the business?
Go for
first.
it, yeah.
Well, performing was always the thing for me. Ever since I was little, it was just like the number one thing that I wanted to do. And I just followed that passion, let's say, as we all do, which took me to drama school, which is actually how I met Tom as well, and Josh for that matter. It was just a passion-led thing that I just didn't want to do anything else, basically.
Can I just say that when we went to drama school, Mimi'd already done all of these courses, like going to America and doing all these Meisner courses, and I was just like, what? Who is this girl that knows so much about acting? I just wanted to be a famous pop star in a boy band, and like now I'm speaking to this girl who's done all of the acting stuff in the world. So you've done lots, haven't you?
I was into it. Yeah, I was really into it. So.
And how I got into it was I was like a pop idol fanatic, X Factor fan, Gareth Gate hairstyle, like Shane Ward shaved head, like I just wanted to be like famous. That was my thing, I think. Being in a boy band. And I was like, and then I wanted to be a wrestler. So then I went to connections meeting at high school. I was like, I want to be a WWE wrestler. And they're like, right, okay, let's think a little bit more serious. And I eventually went to Pendleton Sixth Form College in Salford, studied musical theatre, did Amdram before that. I was like, I think I'm a pretty good singer. Then went to Arts Ed to do this acting thing, which was way above what I really wanted to do. I just wanted to be a singer or then eventually doing musical theatre. But then that's how me and Mimi met, and that was kind of our start to our journey.
Brilliant. And how did you both find the drama school experience? Because it's changed a lot, I think, in recent years. How did you guys find it? And then also, how did you find it in comparison to the actual business coming out into the industry professionally?
Ooh.
I think for me, it was a struggle because I had gone from musical theatre and I knew that that's what I wanted to do. So the first year, I would say I kind of wasted it mucking around and sort of hearing the musical theatre people singing to me like, I feel I should be there, but I put this limitation on myself that I couldn't dance, so I couldn't do a musical theatre course. But I did go and get singing lessons outside of that. And then it wasn't until second year that I would say I properly learn how to act and learn how to properly love it. And then eventually started loving acting way more than singing. So then second year and third year is when I kind of got my shit together, let's say. And I think I've always had it inside of myself that if I'm going to do something, I really want to do something really well. And I do want to be the best. I think that's just part of my character. So I kind of went in deep in the second year and watched all of these films and properly like got into the world of what acting was. And then also, I think I learned more in the first day of rehearsals on my professional job than I did in 3 years of drama school. I just don't think drama school can prep you for what the actual world is like. And that's just the reality. How can you do that? It's not like you can go and do work experience on a show like you could do in a normal job or like you did at high school or something. So I think that was my take on drama school. I loved it, but it put me into a world of like, it's sink or swim now. Like this is the final 3 years. And then I either make it as an actor or I don't, and I find something else. So it's just like, let's just put the work in and see how it goes.
My experience was I was so ready for drama school because, as Tom said, I'd already done all these courses. Like I'd been to New York, and like I was just so up for it. And it was everything I dreamed it would be and more. I absolutely loved the experience. I felt really supported at drama school, and you know, it was great just being given roles, which for me, I found in the real world when I left, it was totally different. Obviously, you have to, like, nobody knows you, so you have to really prove yourself in auditions, which is the real bottleneck for me. Like, I just struggled so much with the audition process that I just never actually ended up getting many jobs, which was so hard, because at drama school you're just told that you're amazing, or I was anyway. You're told that you're good all the time, and then you go out into the real world and no one knows your name or knows who you are, and they're like, and you don't get a job. Well, I didn't get very many jobs, so it was really hard, really brutal for me. It was like a real wake-up call to, like, okay, this is the real world now. So yeah, it was hard for me. It was like being coated in bubble wrap and then just being let out, like, as like a little innocent baby, like not knowing anything. So I found it very tough.
And I think also when you're out in the real world, probably the percentage from females to males is vastly different, isn't it? So your competition, you are in a pool. Well, I'm not too sure. Certainly in the musical theatre world, I know that is the case. I'm not too sure about the straight acting world, but I think that also had a layer of, it's hard, isn't it?
I think that what you said, Mimi, is fascinating about the idea of almost needing to be trained in castings and auditions, and actually that itself is a skill that most actors have to learn. You know, I don't know, I've not been to drama school in a very long time, but when we were there, it was almost like an afterthought. Oh, by the way, when you go, if you want work, you have to go and learn how to do these things, and and you're either good at them or you weren't. And there were, I mean, I'm not going to name names, but there were some actors who weren't the best actors in the world, but were working non-stop because they were just great in the room or great on tape.
Yeah.
What's mad is in sixth form college, when I went to Pendleton, we had audition lessons and classes of how to get into drama school. Why don't you have that at drama school? Why do you have audition prep?
We had it a little bit, but as Josh said, it was an afterthought. It was a really small thing, and like, obviously nothing can prepare you for the reality of walking into an audition room and seeing a panel of people that you've never met and just being like, oh my God, I've got to remember all these lines that you sent me yesterday. Like, it's really intense.
You have to practice, don't you? It's like,
and similarly as well, now with, obviously since COVID, there's been a huge rise in self-tapes, and I think the actors are having to learn again, even particularly older actors in their 40s who, you know, have been used to getting jobs from being in the room and probably winning a lot of jobs from being in the room, and now having to sort of relearn, okay, how do I tape and have that same impact as if I was in the room? That's really hard.
How do I set up a camera, or like, what's the best light, like that bloody blue backdrop that we have to bring open every time? That is a skill in itself, to be able to set yourself up for a good self-tape.
And how do you portray an energy which you could have in the room, and how do you bring that over screen and camera? Because you almost have to but you have to, an energy you feel in the room, but over Zoom or video, how do you portray that to give the same thing? I'm not too sure of the answer. So it is a new world, isn't it? The self-tape world from what it used to be.
Absolutely. So then with Powerful Performer, I'm fascinated by this. I think it's amazing. How did that come about? Tell us how it started.
So I was always into fitness, always into it. Started really at drama school. Again, I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it. And I think I'm up for these sorts of parts, and I want to play these sorts of parts. So I'm going to get my body, my mind, my energy and confidence to where I want it to be. And then I was having these meetings. I struggled with a low patch in acting with confidence, and just found that I was really overthinking everything. So I went to an acting coach, or like almost like a mindset coach, and this was for acting. And I said to him one of the sessions, I've just got this idea that I want to run my own business and become an online coach, but not just for the body, like energy and confidence as well, because I'm struggling with this at the moment. He said, I think that's a great idea. I want you to set it up, and I want you to text me tomorrow when you've downloaded it. And I was like, whoa, okay, what? So you keep me accountable? I have to. So I did it, and it was like a hobby, and it was paying my rent, and I was coaching people, and I was still acting on the side. And then the big C hit, the big COVID, and it was like, again, it was like, this could be the thing that helps us, that helps a lot of actors. A lot of actors need it, and that can be the thing that they're working on themselves whilst we're in this time of crisis, and we also need it. So then
it was a bit of a sink or swim moment. I remember we were sat at our kitchen table, and my sister popped round. She lived in the same building as us, so we were like a little COVID bubble. And Tom was like, you know, a lot of fitness people during COVID were like doing stuff for free, like loads of free stuff on Instagram. And like I was teaching yoga for free and just being like, pay me what you can. Like couldn't afford to pay my rent, our rent. And my sister was like, basically, guys, you need to really get serious about this now. She was like, you need to start charging people. I remember her being quite like straight with us, charging people like what you're worth. And then you joined a business coach, didn't you? Which
again, I was just like, okay, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it properly. I want to be really good at this. And that's when Tom, living fit at the time, transformed into Powerful Performer, and it's just grown from there. We did it very successfully when I did Beauty and the Beast for 18 months and doing 2 jobs. That was quite a lot for me in a health kind of perspective. I sort of suffered with insomnia because there was that much stress sort of going through my body, but we did do it successfully and we had a whole team.
I kind of phased my way in, let's say, because I started just helping Tom a little bit on the side, and then I was like, I actually really enjoy this. I'm quite good at it as well, and I way prefer this to like doing all my other side jobs that I do alongside acting. And then I got my PT qualification as well, and I was just like, oh my god, this is like, I love this so much. So yeah, now we sort of run it together.
And I think what was special about it is that we were really watching performers transform. And I know this transformation word can be shouted home about transformation body, but we were really watching their whole, like, their energy, their confidence, a lot of people's careers transforming by working on their health.
And working on themselves,
and their whole wellness. And there's this reoccurring thing that kept happening where people wanted something at the start of their journey, like they wanted to get seen for certain stuff, and by the end they really were, despite them having clothes on in an audition room. Like, what is this thing that's happening within people that's helping them get more jobs? And it's not really about the body, because they're not going into auditions naked. You know, that would be fucking weird.
Sometimes you have to take your top off.
But anyway, the point was that we really got invested in our performers' transformations. We're like, this is really cool, and we love being a part of that and being their little fan club in the corner. And like, I believe actors are athletes and athletes have coaches, and I believe that's our job for the performing arts industry.
I love that way of thinking of it, like an athlete, and, you know, treating yourself, you know, they have coaches and trainers, and why would an actor not have that same support system and network around them?
And to be able to deal with the stress. So this is one of the major things that I love about becoming stronger as a person. So like putting yourself through this controlled stress by like going in the gym, lifting weights, you prepare yourself to then be able to handle other types of stress that come your way, aka walking into an audition room, that fight or flight moment. It's like, oh yeah, I can do hard things because I've just gone back squatted my body weight yesterday, you know, like I can fucking do it. I can get this job. So I just love that. I love how that translates from being physically strong to then being mentally and just like more able to
and also
get what you want.
Spotting the signs of burnout, I think, is a big thing, because as actors and performers, we're just taught to push and push and push. And an athlete's coach will be like, now's rest time, now's the off season, or now is in season. And I think actors and performers really need to be able to spot those signals of burnout, or how to balance their overall life, or how to prioritize themselves before their career instead of the career before themselves, so then they can optimize their career or their family life or their social life. So I think treating actors like athletes is the only way. It's madness for me not to think of it like that, because of the demands they go through on a day-to-day basis.
It's really interesting you say that about burnout, because I think that is like an unspoken epidemic in the business. You know, we've got people everywhere. If most people who don't ask any second AD or runner on any film set, they're working 16-18 hour days, or go and speak to any casting director who's in the midst of casting a commercial, they are working 18-hour days with a 48-hour turnaround. And I think that is something that is incredibly unhealthy and not sustainable for people.
And how can you do that if you haven't got your nutrition or your sleep sorted, like a foundation? Let's not even talk about exercise and the amazing health benefits of exercise, but the energy you get from food and sleep and recovery of your whole body and brain. Like, how could you do those 16-hour days? How could you do night shoot after night shoot don't understand what you're meant to be eating.
Yeah, was it Matt Fraser, the CrossFit champion, that said if sleep was bottled, it'd be a banned substance?
Yeah.
It's honestly just so many people overlook sleep because they're just like, I've got to do all this stuff. I've got to be there at the audition. I've got to do my 5 other jobs, and
that's the hard
neglect
thing for
something.
actors as well, isn't it? Particularly like with Tom, with what you were saying, you were running a full-time business with Mimi at the same time as doing an 18-month tour. You know, starting work at 5:30, 5 p.m. earlier if you had a matinee, and then not getting off stage until 11 p.m. wired, so you can't go to sleep until 1, 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Then your body clock, your circadian rhythm just must be all over the place.
And I've also found out that I've got ADHD, so I love to work, and I have something called monotropic thinking, that I get fixated on something. So even when I was on tour, I was still fixated on powerful performers, and it took every waking thought, and I had to set clear boundaries, and I would have worked every minute that God has sent if I could. So it's just that it's an unhealthy match, but one that I loved at the same time.
And a bit more balance now.
But it was an awareness for me, who is a coach and really into health and fitness. I still was not able to sleep and tear myself away from that. So if I was struggling, how are actors that aren't as aware of their well-being gonna handle it? That was the real light bulb moment of like, wow, I'm struggling and I understand what's going on.
And so with obviously, you, as I mentioned in the intro, you've worked with hundreds of clients, helping them. What sort of things do you see on a regular basis?
Can I answer this one? I think firstly, the willingness to learn is a really positive attribute to have for any person, but for someone looking to kind of transform their energy, confidence, and body as well, and for that matter. So willingness to learn is a big one, but also being able to ask for help as well, because very often we get people who have all that, like they're here and they're ready, but they just don't know how to ask for help. So then they end up, if they do need help, they just kind of can't get it, basically. So those are the two main things that I would say.
I think as also performers, we're so used to doing things on our own and not very good at delegating stuff. Like when I was a young actor, trying to refusing to hire an accountant and doing all of my receipts and getting it and doing everything, and actually, like Mimi said, just asking for help or delegating things to free your brain and energy so you can focus on the things that you actually want to do. I would say if somebody's first coming into their health and fitness journey, is not thinking about changing. And what I mean, like, you don't want to be thinking about muscle gain, you don't want to be thinking about weight loss, you want to be thinking about finding a baseline for your health and being consistent with that. And once you find a new baseline, maybe the baseline is, I just want to have energy, I just don't want to burn out, I want to go into the gym once a week, whatever your baseline is. Once you're consistent in that, then change and transformation can happen. But you can't build a skyscraper off weak foundations. And the baseline is about the foundation. So we get a lot of people that say, I just want to drop weight, but you've got a terrible relationship with food. That's never going to happen unless we sort that out first, unless we sort the relationship out with your own body and your own food. Then you can build a skyscraper to the moon. So often when people come to us, it's about going, I understand this is what you want, but this is what has to happen first for long-term results. Because if you don't get that, it ends up becoming this like 12-week body transformation, man. And then your body rebounds, you put it all back on 8 weeks later. And then the relationship with your body is terrible. And then you resent health and fitness, which is such a huge part. It has to be such a huge part for everyone. So I would say if someone's listening to this and wanting to get fit, strong and healthy, come at it from like, what can I sustain for 90 days to find a baseline, and from there I can start looking for results.
Nice. And then we talked about auditioning and self-taping, and what I love about what you guys do is you also focus on mindset as well. Would you have any advice to someone who struggles with auditioning about how to approach it?
Think I'm the wrong person to ask.
Well, no, maybe you're not. Maybe you're not. Maybe genuinely you've learned something over the years of, hindsight's a wonderful thing, Mimi, and maybe there are things that you look back and go, oh, okay, I did this, or maybe you've seen with your clients things that work particularly well.
I mean, preparation is key, but also it's that confidence that I was speaking about, and being able to, like, really back yourself, which I think comes before you walk into the audition room. Obviously being prepared is really, really helpful as well. But if you can get yourself to a place where you're really confident within who you are, you should be able to carry that then into the audition room, hopefully.
I'm just going to embarrass you for a second, because sometimes you come out and say, God, if I was only like as confident as I am now back in the day, you say things like that, I'd have nailed it. And that's when you weren't really into, I don't just want to say exercise, but the whole wellness thing. Like if you were to go back and do it now, you think it would be a different story. And you say that quite often.
Yeah, I do. So when I was back in my acting days, when I wasn't getting many jobs, I wasn't looking after my body at all. Like I was working in a bar, like I used to work really late nights. I was smoking, I was drinking, I was like doing recreational drugs every other weekend, and I just wasn't in a good place, like mentally and physically. So that really showed. I was going into my auditions just beat down, really. I wasn't looking or feeling well. And yeah, I do think now if I went into an audition, it would be very different, just because of how I kind of look and feel, let's say. So yeah, that is true.
It's whatever that thing is, isn't it? Like we say confidence. What is confidence? I really believe that you can't fake it as an actor, because when you're in fight or flight, to fake it or to put on a different character won't come across as authentic. And I think that whole thing is true about if you are just yourself, however we get there, however we get to confidence. In our program, obviously it's like the external affects the internal, or the internal affects the external. That's the way we come at it. But if someone wasn't into fitness or anything like that, it's just about creating that confidence, isn't it? It may be about putting your best piece of clothing on, about doing the same sort of mindset meditation before you go in. But however you create that undeniable confidence that you just back yourself. And then I also think it's really important not to take it to heart. And I know that is a hard thing, but if you can separate yourself from your work and the audition, is important. God, there's diarrhea coming out of my mouth now. But also I think it's important not to be perfect as well. Like I'm just going like, I'm going to do this, and like it might be great, it might be awful, but like being able to think on your feet and like flexible is really important. And I guess that's where getting used to the audition room, or getting used to the stress, the cortisol which is going through your body, enable you to think a bit more on your feet instead of rehearsing your lines the same and being a bit rigid. Because no one wants to see that. No one wants to feel that, do they?
Yeah. And I think those are really, really helpful answers. So you guys obviously been in the industry. Mimi doesn't believe me there. You guys have been in the industry a long time. You've now been inside the industry, and you have this point of view from just outside looking in, working with actors, working with creatives. How have you seen the industry change?
It's evolved. So I watched a documentary with Noel Gallagher a couple of days ago, and he talked about when the internet came about and where we became a small island of England. We then started connecting with people across the world due to the internet and due to social media. And obviously it's changed massively since then. So that is a whole thing with social media, with business, with how to portray yourself, has totally changed from just going into an audition room and the casting team being your point of focus to get a job. You now can write scripts, become anything you want to, have a business on, like there's endless opportunity. And I think there's positives and negatives to that. I'm unsure what they are, but I resonated when Noel Gallagher said that. I think he called it globalization, when all of a sudden the internet and social media came about. You just have access to everything. You can compare yourself to every single person on this planet within a second if you just open up your phone, and that isn't healthy.
No.
But the positive about it is there's endless opportunity. So it's just about like weighing it up and learning how to use the internet and social media, and to use opportunity, and also be able to set your own boundaries and go like, I'm not going to look at social media after, I don't know, 5 p.m. or whatever. But I think because that's changed, self-tape is a thing. Brand as an actor, I hate that word, but that has to be a thing as well. If there's 2 people going up for the audition, one person's got 500,000 followers, one person that has 500, they probably just are going to go for someone with more followers. That is the reality of it, because business films, it's all a business and it's to make money. So brand and business as an actor, I think has got to, it's probably never been as important. When you had an agent before, you got sent into an audition room, your brand was just maybe what you wore and what you look like. Now it's much more than that, I think.
I'm going to make us sound really old now, but when we were at Arts Ed, we three, I remember Instagram first came out, and I just thought it was an app that you just edited your photos on. I didn't realize other people could see it. So there's some very dodgy pictures of us at Arts Ed parties back in the day. But yeah, now it's like a legit platform to showcase yourself. You know, people are looking, which is scary but also amazing, because you know, you can showcase yourself in a whole new way that we couldn't do before.
And I think if like to get savvy on social media isn't the worst idea in the world. To really understand how to I guess it is marketing.
Yeah, if you can harness that, then it's a really wonderful tool. Obviously there's a lot of damage that comes from social media as well, but I think something that we've learned with business is I really didn't want to use my Instagram for the fitness thing. I was so cringed out by it, but Tom was like, come on, that you're like, this negative or limited mindset is holding you back, basically. So, you know, we could potentially grow our business if you start doing that. And that was just like one thought in my mind that's actually helped our business a lot, but just by me doing a bit of fitness on Instagram now. So it can really help if you harness it and use it for a positive.
Because I've heard a lot with it being in cast and people being like, oh, why so-and-so playing that part? It's only because they're off a reality TV show. And you have a choice. You can either sit there and complain about why that person has done it, or you can get up off your arse and like try and compete with them. And that might be in a social media or learn from them.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the industry, it is a business, and they want their business to succeed, and they want to make money, and you have to understand that to be a part of it. Else you're just going to be one of those actors that sits there and complains, and if nothing happens, guess what? Nothing happens. So
brilliant. Okay, guys, so we've only got a few minutes left. So at this point in the show, we ask people some quick fire questions. Okay, so you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so Tom, Mimi, 3 things that you love about your job.
The people, the freedom that we have. Could you say the third?
I like supporting our clients, like being their little fanboy.
Nice.
3 each, are we? All right, we'll do 3 each from now on.
No, you can do 3 together. It's absolutely fine. It's not a university challenge. This is quite laid back.
This sort of thing stresses me out, on the spot thinking.
Okay, so if you could change one thing about the industry, what would it be?
I'm going to be biased here, and more education on health and well-being within drama school. So like starting to build up and incorporating that more into your business, body, profession for me.
I don't know what I would change.
Maybe you think the industry's perfect and you don't want it to change anything.
No, I don't. I don't know how to answer that question. Sorry.
That's all right.
It's okay. That's fine.
Rubbish answer.
What did you say?
I said it's a rubbish answer. Sorry.
I thought you said more good banter. I was like, oh, okay, that's
This is our form of banter.
Okay, so desert island. You're on a desert island. You can take a film, a play, and a musical. What are you guys taking?
Ooh. I'll take True Romance as my film.
Oh, great choice.
And then what was the next thing?
Play and a musical.
A play, I would take People, Places and Things. It was the last thing we saw, but that's a classic. And a musical. Ooh, I'm taking Wicked.
Tom, what are you having?
I'm going to take Titanic, first film that ever made me cry. I had to go into the toilet and like I wouldn't let my mum see me crying. She's like, "You're all right, Tom." I was like,
"Which bit made you cry, Tom? Was it when he went down?"
When he went down. If anyone's not watched it, but yeah, when he died.
She could have moved over. That was a big door. She could have moved over.
She could.
I'm gonna take the play Woman in Black because it scared me so much.
You're taking that to a desert island?
Well,
you'll be scared all alone.
I'm taking it because there's
emotional, then scared.
14-year-old boy, I was that scared. I had to ask my dad if I could go and sleep with him for the night because I was so scared the woman in black would come. So yeah, I'm gonna take that.
Amazing musical.
At the musical, Les Mis. Wow, I'm such a
High emotion on this desert
Yeah.
island. There's going to be a lot of tears.
got no happiness
This
in
is
my head,
epic,
is there?
epic desert island. You've got
Yeah.
ship
God.
sinkings.
Can I bring some tissues at the
I'm
same
going to be
time?
belting Defying Gravity, having a wonderful
Yeah.
time.
I'll be chaining myself up singing Look Down.
Tom's going, come back. Okay, and
Oh, God.
give us, and you could feel free to use one of your clients for this. Give us an actor or a creative that you think we should all be on the lookout for in the next few months and years.
Ooh.
I'm gonna say client Jack Myers.
I was going to say Jack Myers.
Yeah,
Jack Myers.
Jack
Yeah.
Myers is called, and he's just doing really good, consistent stuff. And when he came to us, he was just doing stage work. He really wanted to get into film, and he's just doing loads of it. He's doing loads of good, regular stuff. I think he's just had a little part in a Marvel film, and he's just a really great guy. He's really transformed his whole kind of energy, and I think he'll be big.
Yeah.
Wicked.
I've got one more actually. Sorry,
Go
I
on.
need to big up another Arts Ed alumni, but a very, very good friend of ours, Siobhan Marks, who is very similar to Jack. He's just been chipping away in the industry. Like, I'm not joking. This girl has worked since graduating and she's never stopped. And perhaps not a household name yet, but I feel like it's coming. So yeah, Jack Myers and Siobhan Marks are the ones to watch.
And Josh Hayes. Sorry for that.
On Crime Watch, maybe. What about that? Tom and Mimi, thank you very much for joining us on Tape Deck Sessions.
Thank
Thanks
you
so
so
much.
much.